right of way, we were hesitant because of the heavy use. We knew already what these roads, we drive these roads, we know exactly what the usage is, and we compared it against other county roads, so we knew that we wanted a more robust section for this particular roadway.
So you didn't agree with that? Or?
Well, again, there's no...
Do you believe 3.5 inches is enough asphalt to supply? And the reason I asked, and I brought this up before, I live in the Fairlane sub, and they redid Westlake. You guys may have even oversaw the project. They put 4 inches of asphalt on Westlake, which is kind of a main thoroughfare through my neighborhood. And I just can't understand how we can put 4 inches on and 3.5 on Pardee Road, which you said is basically like, a second telegraph almost.
Yeah.
And, I think that's what I need to really, I want to hear your perspective, because you guys were the ones that said this is what we need.
Sure.
And then another party saying, no, that's not what we need. So I want to hear your argument.
Well, it depends on the design life that the city wants for those roadways. You could spec out a 2-inch. Will it last? No. A 5.5 inch section is more robust and will last longer than a 3.5 section. So, from an engineering perspective, we want the best roads for the city. We're looking for a 20-year design life and then some. So the crack relief layer, they've had measured success past the 20-year mark with regular maintenance, joint sealing, banding, things of that nature. There's always regular maintenance on a roadway, but the design that we proposed will give you a 20-plus year design life.
Chair,
Councilman Johnson.
could you tell us how do we achieve the 5.5 inches at the gutter line?
At the gutter line.
At the gutter line.
So the core samples basically showed 5.5, but what happens, I think Craig has mentioned this, at certain points in the curb, the asphalt's thinner. So it's sort of a wedge that gets put in at the curb line, and then let's say the very top course has to be a uniform thickness. For example, the top course for this project is 1.5. So the end result is that last lift should be 1.5 uniform and match that curb. So the asphalt could be thinner at the curb lines.
So where
to
do you
make that happen.
Where do you take that from? Do you take it from the reflective core layer? Do you take it from the asphalt? Where do you take that from? So we could have only 3.5 at the curb line, and then 5.5 in the middle. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. That is correct.
How far off the curb line? Would it be 5 feet? Would it be 8 feet to taper it down?
It could be in the middle. Yeah, it could be in the middle of the last lane. But so you can only go down to the concrete and repair the concrete. So that's what you're limited by, and it varies.
One more quick comment. So I drove those trucks, 3 at a time going down there. And you're saying we want thicker, better, it's going to last longer with all that weight. But then again, we're saying it could be at the curb line, it could be not so thick. Just a thought.
And if I could, good evening to the chair, John Hennessey with Hennessey Engineers. The one thing that we have to measure when we place roadways through there is that we pay in tonnage. We don't actually pay in inches there. And you yield out what the inches will be through the tonnage. And if you see a paver, you'll see 2 screws on each end of the paver, that they are always manipulating those to match that through there. But what the appropriate thing is that the pavers achieve is that you get that crack relief layer in the travel lanes that are a few feet off the curb line through there. So you ramp up pretty quick through there. And if you look just down Goddard today, you can see it's thicker than 2.5 inches in a lot of areas that's placed through there. And it's because of how they do the screws to get the slope, the cross slope through there.
Councilwoman Wood?
Hey, Alan, thank you for coming, or Mr. Hennessey. So, how long do you think that the current way it's being done, what would be the life of the road, approximately, in your opinion, with the lesser amount of asphalt?
Again, it varies and depends on the maintenance. Maintenance is key to that. You'll have to come in every year or 2 years and maintain that road, and that costs money also. We've seen county roads that last 7 to 10 with good maintenance. Some can go 11 to 12 with good maintenance. So it really depends on your maintenance program and how aggressive you tackle that.
And one advantage to the crack relief layer that I want the council and the public to be aware of is really just the level of expertise that was involved with the engineers that were through there. As Alan's mentioned, many of these engineers are well seasoned, and the advantage to the crack relief layer is that it prevents water from infiltrating into the base, which prevents it magnifies the reflective cracking. But the reflective crack layer also reduces the significant potholes and things that you see in typical overlays that begin to deteriorate. And that's a real advantage, that the maintenance is substantially streamlined and easier to maintain through there. And we did explain to the administration the importance of the crack layer that we felt, and we really did feel that the 10% investment was a beneficial trade-off to get the additional longevity of the roadway through there. You can't really say one road is exactly right, one road's wrong, because it just comes down to what is the life cycle that you're looking for through there.
Right, which originally was a 20-year road with a 15-year bond, am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
So now we may be getting a 10-year road with a 15-year bond, against what the engineers that we hired for consultation recommended.
Mr. Chairman,
Sure.
the life expectancy has kind of been a big part of my interest, because like Councilman Witt and I voted on a 20-year road, and some of the I wrote down some of the quotes, if you will, some information that Mr. Cruz had provided to council. Removal of crack relief will undermine the life of the pavement from an anticipated life of 20 years to less than 10 years. In 10 years, the HMA resurfacing will require replacement. This concerns me if we were trying to get a 20-year road. It concerns me that we're financing it for 15 years. I had actually asked Mr. Couture about, can you really finance something for a term longer than the life expectancy? The Municipal Finance Act says no. Now, the road will be there. We're going to be able to drive on it, but it appears, it's your strong opinion, that based on the change, 20 years is definitely not 20 years. It might be 12, it might be 10, it might be 8, but I know I'm paying on the bonds for 15 years, and that's concerning to me.
And the Asphalt Association of Michigan has really, they've been doing this since '99, and they've been monitoring the roads, so now we're in 22 years of there, and they're projecting some of their roads actually to get a 30-year life out of them. And if you talk to Chuck Mills at the Asphalt Association, and they look at roads throughout the entire state, and you know, they're essentially a non-profit think tank, you know, for asphalt roads to extend the longevity of them, to increase the rideability of them, and to facilitate ways to ensure that asphalt is really competitive with concrete, you know, and that's why their goal is to extend that asphalt, and the crack relief layer has in certain situations has real applicability, and this is one of those situations where you have the curb height, you've got the geometry, you're replacing essentially the road that was present through there with the road profile through there, so it doesn't have any unusual uncomfort with rideability and things along those lines.
Some of the other notes I made, the timing, I think I kind of feel like the conversation we had with police and IT, because I've got, Mr. Lyon telling me that it's fine, that the crack relief wasn't really a good application based on the way this was designed. You're advising us the completely opposite. I don't know anything about concrete or asphalt, so I'm trying